What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. I have some breaking news for you guys on several fronts. First, breaking news this morning and late last night on President Donald Trump's impeachment and the 25th Amendment. And then I have a brand new breaking news on a resolution because of what is happening with the president on your $2,000 stimulus checks. It's almost like one is happening because of the other. I'm going to give you all the details of it in this video. Make sure to watch to the end because one leads to the other. It's just kind of the easiest way I could say it until I explain it. But yeah, there's a lot going on in Congress with the stimulus checks, with the impeachment and 25th Amendment. I'm going to break down it for you guys, all the latest information. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. All it does is make YouTube show our videos to you more so then you can choose on whether or not you want to watch them. I get a lot of questions about that. If you want to be notified, just click the subscribe and then click the bell icon with the all notifications once you click the bell so you get notified, because without that, the YouTube algorithm might not show you the video. That's pretty much all subscribing means. It's just it shows you the video and then you choose to watch it. And to show your support for the channel, all you got to do is hit the like button for us down below, and we really appreciate it. Okay, late last night, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill calling on Vice President Mike Pence to remove President Donald Trump from the presidency through the 25th Amendment. Representative Jamie Raskin, a Democrat from Maryland, led the resolution which called on Vice President Mike Pence, joined by other members of cabinet, to oust Trump by activating the 25th Amendment, which allows for the president's removal if he's deemed, quote, unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Promoting Trump's removal, Raskin, a constitutional law scholar, said it's imperative that Congress send the message, quote, that's what took place is absolutely intolerable and unacceptable. He says it is critical for us now to make clear that this was an absolute dereliction of a presidential duty. The bill passed the U.S. House of Representatives with a 223 vote to 205 noes, 223 yeses, 205 noes. Only one Republican lawmaker in the House of Representatives voted yes to basically remove President Trump with the 25th Amendment. Representative Adam Kinzinger, a Republican from Illinois. It is interesting to note that most Republicans opposed the effort, obviously, but some defended Trump's action as harmless. Others denounced the president's behavior, but argued against his removal so close to the end of his term. So shortly after the U.S. House of Representatives passed this bill to invoke the 25th Amendment that Vice President Mike Pence has to do, he swiftly denied it. Vice President Mike Pence swiftly told House Speaker Nancy Pelosi after the passing of this bill he will not invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Donald Trump from office. In fact, Vice President Mike Pence wrote a letter shortly thereafter to Nancy Pelosi, and well, here it is. From the office of the Vice President last night to the Honorable Nancy Pelosi and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, says, Dear Madam Speaker, every American was shocked and saddened by the attack on our nation's capital last week. I am grateful for the leadership that you and other congressional leaders provided in reconvening Congress to complete the people's business on the very same day. And boy, they went until like 5 a.m. I know this because I stayed up to give you guys the results, and yeah, that did not work out very well. Vice President says it was a moment that demonstrated to the American people that unity that is still possible in Congress when it is needed the most. But now, with just 8 days left in the president's term, you and the Democratic caucus are demanding that the cabinet and I invoke the 25th Amendment. I do not believe that such a course of action is in the best interest of our nation or consistent with our Constitution. Last week, I did not yield to pressure to exert power beyond my constitutional authority to determine the outcome of the election. This is when Vice President denied overturning the election, and President Trump was not very happy about this. So he's saying he didn't do that for the Republican or for Trump, and he's not going to do this either for the Democrats. He says, and I will not now yield to efforts in the House of Representatives to play political games at a time so serious in the life of our nation. As you full well know, the 25th Amendment was designed to address presidential incapacity or disability. Just a few months ago, when you introduced legislation to create a 25th Amendment commission, you said, quote, a president's fitness for office must be determined by science and facts. You said then that we must be very respectful of not making a judgment on the basis of comment or behavior that we don't like, but based on a medical decision. Madam Speaker, you were right. He's literally using her own words against her here. Under our Constitution, the 25th Amendment is not a means of punishment or usurpation. And I did see another expert, I showed you guys like a week or two ago, a law expert that said that this 25th Amendment was not created to punish a president. He says invoking the 25th Amendment in such a manner would set a terrible precedence. After the horrific events of last week, our administration's energy is directed to ensuring an orderly transition. The Bible says, it's interesting he's quoting the Bible here, for everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to heal and a time to build up. That time is now. In the midst of a global pandemic, economic hardship for millions of Americans, and the tragic events on January 6th, now is the time for us to come together. Now is the time to heal. I urge you and every member of Congress to avoid actions that would further divide and inflame the passions of the moment. Work with us to lower the temperature and unite our country as we prepare to inaugurate President-elect Joe Biden. I think this is the first time I've ever seen Mike Pence say this, as the next president of the United States. I pledge to you that I will continue to do my part to work in good faith with the incoming administration to ensure an orderly transition of power. So help me God. Sincerely, Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States. Wow. So, first of all, let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments. First of all, I kind of expected this from Mike Pence. I did not think he was going to turn on President Trump, although I'm going to show you something crazy regarding that here in just a second. Just a second. I can't even say it on YouTube. It's so crazy. But yeah, I didn't expect Mike Pence to turn on President Trump, although President Trump expected him to. Let me just show you now. All right, yeah, here we go. Here's a brand new report. Trump told Vice President Mike Pence that he could either be a patriot or I can't really say that word on YouTube, nor do I really want to say it, especially because I know there's a lot of kids that watch this show with their parents. So definitely not going to say that word, but you can guess what it is. According to a new report from the New York Times, President Trump told Vice President Pence that he had a choice between being remembered by history, quote, as a patriot or as a while attempting to pressure him to overturn the results of the presidential election, which we know he did not do. Trump said this just before Pence headed to the Capitol on Wednesday, according to the Times, citing two people briefed on the conversation. So one, that's probably why Mike Pence hasn't spoken to Donald Trump since then. Neither has Mitch McConnell, ironically, and it seems that everything is falling apart around President Donald Trump. I mean, his own vice president doesn't want to talk to him. The Republican Senate majority leader, minority leader, leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, said that he would be happy if he never had to spoke to President Trump ever again. And he's already circulating information on the impeachment proceedings. Wow, it's just, I'd say it's one of those weeks, but last week was just as bad. I almost have to say it's one of those years, but last year was just as bad too. Oh my, I don't even know. Like, is 2021, is the whole year gonna be like this? I just don't even know. So there's a group of GOP lawmakers, which is Grand Old Party, aka Republicans. There's a group of Republicans that are introducing a resolution to censure Trump over the Capitol riot, which is kind of like they're kind of like giving a something to the Democrats, saying, "Don't impeach him, and we'll just do this resolution to kind of like reprimand Trump instead, as something that try to like give something to the Democrats to kind of like get them to back off." Six Republicans on Tuesday introduced a resolution to censure President Trump over his role in stoking last week's violent riots at the U.S. Capitol. The group, led by Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican from Pennsylvania, argued that censure was the most effective way to punish Trump, arguing that current impeachment effort being waged in the House is likely to result in President's acquittal in the Senate and could further divide the nation. So this is kind of a way to, dare I say, reprimand the president without impeaching him. But you let me know what you think, because Nancy Pelosi is still supposed to go ahead with impeachment hearings today. That, remember, the 25th Amendment and the impeachment are two separate things, and Nancy Pelosi and the House Democrats are trying to do both, trying to get either one to work. And yeah. Now, just as there was a group of Republicans asking for that censure clause to basically quell the Democrats, we're now actually seeing the same thing with $2,000 stimulus checks. Republican Senator Marco Rubio from Florida asks Joe Biden for $2,000 stimulus checks immediately as a unity appeal to kind of call off the Democrats, dare I say. Republican Senator Marco Rubio from Florida urged President elect Joe Biden late last night to immediately call on Congress to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the American people as a sign of congressional unity, according to a letter obtained by Axios. And here is the letter from the United States Senate to the Honorable Joseph Biden Jr., President-elect, saying, "Dear President-elect Biden, last Wednesday was one of the darkest days in our history. All across our nation, people are looking for answers and demanding accountability, but they are also desperate for hope. Hope that political leaders in Washington can begin steps to heal our deeply divided nation. It would send a powerful message to the American people if, on our first day of your presidency, you called on the House and the Senate to send you legislation to increase the direct impact payments, aka stimulus checks, to Americans struggling due to the pandemic from $600 to $2,000. Millions of working class families are in dire need of additional relief, which is why I supported this effort last month. Unfortunately, the Senate was not able to consider this House bill pass." Mitch McConnell. sorry. Sorry, I had a hairball there. Although, although I share many of my colleagues' concerns about the long term effects of this additional spending, we simply cannot ignore the fact that millions of working class families across the nation are still in a desperate need of relief. At a time when they need it most, we must recognize the positive message it would send to the American people and the entire world if Republicans and Democrats came together on January 20th to put the American people first. All too often, popular and necessary legislation is used as a leverage to secure passage for policies that cannot pass on their own merit. We have already seen it in the midst of the pandemic when additional funding for small businesses was blocked repeatedly for months on end. Please do not allow direct payments to the American people to get caught up in the normal political games by adding a wish list of far left or other unrelated priorities to this legislation. Basically saying pass these stimulus checks on their own, not in a stimulus package that might have a whole bunch of other left Democrat stuff. Although I will disagree with your administration frequently over the next 4 years, I am committed to working in good faith to advance critically important and effective policies on behalf of the people of this great nation. True recovery, economically, politically, culturally, and spiritually, will take time and it will require creativity that spans beyond the typical partisan divides in Washington. We do not need partisan stunts, show votes, or cynical ploys. I implore you to rise above the rhetoric and deliver an increase in assistance for American family. Thank you for your attention in this important matter. U.S. Senator, Republican Senator Marco Rubio. So basically, Republican Senator Marco Rubio there is asking and saying to President elect Joe Biden, let's immediately pass a $2,000 stimulus checks as a unity appeal to somewhat bring our nation closer and to stop the divide of our nation. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think? What do you think of Vice President Mike Pence? What do you think of this leading now to Republican Senator Mark Rubio sending out this public letter demanding $2,000 stimulus checks immediately to help kind of bring our nation together and stop the fighting, which is exactly what is going on right now. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos if you haven't yet. And by the way, my wife did a great video yesterday on our other channel, The Daily Dirt, showing President Trump's exact speech before the protest and exactly what he said. And you can make your own decision whether you think he incited a riot or not. That's this bottom video right here. Click that and watch that next if you haven't yet. This top video is my newest stimulus check video. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.